Which area council is that?
I cannot recall, but I think Janjambure at the time was having a problem of that. I don't know on which one. I don't know Kunta or so, but Janjambure had a problem of that.
Were these issues addressed?
Yes. We have to understand that these councils have an administrative body. Issues and oversight come to us, but we are not imposing on councils where they have financial issues to bring these structures in place. We also have to look at the financial. It's not just to fix the bodies. It's quite efficient to have these bodies structured, but it's another thing to pay them. If these structures, their budget, their revenue cannot handle, this is where compromises come in. Even though it's not an efficient way of doing things, but sometimes you have to be careful where you force them to set a body where they will have issues in trying to address. When without that body, still things can move.
Yes, so we will first start by highlighting the problem. And then we will, of course, discuss the correspondence from the ministry, your office, and the council, if any, and why a certain problem is not being fixed. And we can understand, of course, from your position if we're convinced that definitely. So now, let's start with the fact that, for example, in the area of Janjanbure, they don't have an establishment committee. And you will agree with me, it's a very fundamental committee in relation to the existence of that area council. Will you agree?
I agree, but then you have to also understand that there could be a council for the whole year, they will not do recruitment. They might not require to do recruitment for the whole year. So that body now, against other functional bodies, you have to weigh their budget, whether that is a priority. Because a council can go 2 years without recruitment. So we have to also factor that.
Very well. So have you at any time engaged in written correspondence in relation to this matter, not having an establishment committee in Janjanbure? Have you in your office?
No.
And why is that?
Because we know for certain the recruitment, there were no recruitment issues whereby councils, Janjanbure indicated that there is a structural problem in terms of them doing the recruitment. All the recruitment they are doing were above the level of that body.
But we are dealing with a problem that you are now aware of, whether they informed you of the problem or whether you are aware of it on your own. It all arrives at the same point. Now, as an inspection unit, as an oversight institution, now you are aware of the problem. And you're saying you haven't engaged in official ways in trying to solve the issue? Is that what you're saying?
It's not an issue when there is no need for it. We have to understand the context. Establishment committee does recruitment. If there are no recruitment issues, that establishment committee could be held whilst other bodies are set up to make the council functional. Even they can bring it up on ad hoc basis, based on their revenue. That's what I'm telling you about. We all know Janjambure, their revenue base is very small. So if they want to put in all the structures recommended in the act at their council, they may have issues.
Now, you were saying, as far as you're concerned, there was no recruitment for that. Maybe perhaps of financial issues that they may face, so they may not be able to pay staff. Is that what you're saying?
I said it was not there, but it has not been brought to my attention officially that it's absent is causing dysfunctional issues at the council as such it needs to be addressed. That has not been brought to my attention. Do
you share the opinion that they should have it, and it is of paramount importance that councils should have an establishment committee?
It's provided by the act.
Do you share the opinion that it's very, very, very much important?
It's relative. I will come back again. It's important that the body is there, but you have to look at the need based on the revenue of the council. I will stick to that.
Now, is it also not the, and correct me if I'm wrong, the role of the establishment committee to refer issues of maybe perhaps disciplinary issues to the commission?
That is the responsibility of the administration.
Yes, and which is in relation to the committee.
Yeah, they can subject it to their internal procedures before they bring it out.
Very well. Now let's move to the issue of, are you aware as to whether any of the area councils as well lack clerks? Council clerks.
Like council clerks?
Yes.
That one also has never been brought to my attention.
If I refer you to perhaps Kuntawur, at one time, I'm not sure where still now, they didn't have council clerks to take meetings, records of proceedings, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that is the responsibility of the chairperson to make sure, because the clerk does the work for the council, the policy body. That is the policy body, those who are elected. The clerk serve them in the council, and the position is provided for in the budget. So they should make sure that is filled. But in the absence of it not being filled, and then they are using maybe another staff to do the work, or whatever way they are using, you mean to say that they have not been producing reports because of the lack of clerk, or it is not there?
No, I am just saying that, again, we are trying to stress on the issues of importance in relation to your role as an inspector. You understand? Because you've highlighted the fact that you serve as an oversight institution with respect to these area councils.
Exactly.
And we have discussed so many issues regarding what entails your oversight functions. In fact, we have discussed so many things about discipline and correspondence and so on and so forth. But again, we are now talking about the functionalities of these councils. For them to function well, the law has outlined certain criteria that must be met. For example, these committees must be present. It's not even an option. They have to be present for the proper administration of these councils. You will agree. They are not just there for nothing. Now, the clerk of council is very important, and I agree with you that they're supposed to be appointed by the chairperson or council for whatever procedure. As an inspector or as an oversight institution, will you agree with me that it is your role to find out whether the councils are operating in accordance with the Act?
Yes.
And so if they don't have certain fundamental positions being filled for the efficient management of council, you should know about it.
Yes.
And therefore, the lack of having a clerk definitely should come to your attention as a
council clerk is, I want to clarify this. The council clerk serves the council, is appointed by the council, not even by the mainstream administration. This is a body, this is a portfolio to serve the council as chairperson together with the councillors will go through the process and appoint a clerk. A council clerk is essential because if it is not there and the council is not holding meetings and the council is not being able to produce reports or council minutes, I think that council supposed to even pass resolution against their chairperson.
I agree entirely.
Yeah.
But what are you supposed to do as an oversight institution now?
The oversight institution is to, if it is detected during inspection, there will be out that they need to fill that position.
But then if you are exercising that inspection role, will you agree with me that you will naturally detect that this particular council do not have a clerk?
No, that depends on the inspection, their particular mandate for that inspection. Some inspections are definitely on finances and the recruitment on the side. So if inspectors are going, we will sit down and then sort of discuss issues that we want them to look for when they go to these councils. So it might not always be the case that they will be able to detect that. But if they detect it, it's supposed to be part of their report, and we will make a recommendation for that council to fill that post.
Another issue, lastly on the issue of the staff and management of the council, is that I'm not sure whether you are aware, as PS and as a chief inspector, I will say you are over these area councils, that in fact some of the staffs, most of the area councils, you will realize that some staffs don't have adequate files at the councils. For example, the audit report will highlight that there are perhaps in some files no appointment letters, no birth certificates. You can't even authenticate the nationality of the staff being employed, and so many things. I'm not sure whether these things are to your notice as PS.
Exactly.
And can you share with us, the commission here and the commissioners, what steps have you done to remedy these situations when you have highlighted, it came to your notice?
Yeah, these issues came to our attention, and we called the councils. In fact, we dispatched our record unit to go assist some of these councils to put their records in order. That is not only their staff, lack of appointment letters and the like, but some of the files are not well labeled. But this is a capacity problem at the level of the councils. And this capacity issue is an issue dealing with not only the number, but also the quality of the staff you find in the council.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
And the assessment I referred to earlier on, that is the one done by the PFM, the Public Finance Management Unit of the Ministry of Finance, highlighted this. But there is an option. The option is the capacity need at the council is so serious that there is a need for an overhaul. An overhaul will mean we need to go for retrenchment. But this goes with cost. And if we cannot meet that cost, we cannot go that route. Capacity building, when we started supervising councils, we had 2 officers at the council with who are graduates at the beginning. By this year, we have 33. So the number has increased significantly in trying to build their capacity, internally those who are trainable. But the problem is the council itself first must have to realize that they needed that capacity, the capacity gap building. But the ministry will support them in trying to advise them and then make sure that these issues, that's why this year we said all councils must have an internal auditor. We've realized that the lack of internal auditor has created a lot of financial problems that we are going to discuss here. So we request that all councils must recruit, it's a matter of must, that they must recruit internal auditors. And as we speak, the Service Commission has finished interview for the first batch of the internal auditors, and they have since request for their appointments. And then I've received a lot of acceptance letters from these internal auditors accepting those offers, and then now they will be there as a backstop to look at the internal checks, so that some of those problems that we are seeing on papers could have been addressed by the presence of an internal auditor. So these are cadres that we're trying to identify, but these are issues also that has to do with finance. We don't have to oversight the finance. If we look at council's structure, some of the committees that they need to fund, agricultural committee, the works committee, like you said, earlier on we talked about the road contractors committee. There are a lot of committees, but these committees, do you just bring them all in and have the burden cost when they will sit for maybe 2 years without doing any function? Or you opt for having them at a ad hoc when there are issues, you bring the committee in, and then you do that function. If it is over and you don't expect any in the near future, you can relinquish so just to save cost. So that is not bad to me. I don't see that bad.
Very well. With respect to this, so much issues raised by the various audit reports, periodical reports, because of course, you know it is a requirement that there has to be an annual report, audit. And what is your office role over the years? What steps have you taken in remedying the issues that we have raised in this deliberation and highlighted clearly by the various audit reports?
First, audit reports comes with audit queries. And these audit queries comes with a management response. And this management response is followed by audit recommendations. And these audit recommendations, we instruct councils to implement the audit recommendation. I'm sorry for my voice, I have cold. We instruct councils, some of them we call the officers, the CEO, and then we discuss with them that these findings needed to be implemented. And then some of them, they will, like if it is financial implication, they will write to the officers responsible, and then inform them that you need to pay back so and so as the audit report. Some of them will go back to say, by the time the audit, we could not provide this, management response was not adequate, so we provide more on the management response, and they will send it to the national audit. If it is accepted, those queries will be dropped. But then the problem is the council management must be seen to be applying the audit report recommendations to the latter.
Yes. So I will give you an example. Again, if you look at the area, the issues in, for example, Basa Area Council, I believe there were fraudulent allegations, for example, wherein some amounts of money do not tally with the cash book or the bank statements and so on and so forth. And then once these audit reports are carried out and these issues have been highlighted, do you have evidence of any actions that have been taken in some of these instances over the years?
Yes, if it is Basse, I don't know whether you're referring to the recent audit which was on social media.
No, I'm just taking Basse as an example. I'm just saying,
okay.
For example, all the 8 area councils, whether you have acted on a particular issue highlighted, especially fraud of financial mismanagement issues, highlighted by some of these audit reports, your office, have you acted on these to try to address these issues?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If the audit report comes to the office, we subject the audit report. First, we instruct, because it's the responsibility of management to make sure this audit report is acted on. That's the first responsible body. We will look at if those responsibilities are not carried out. We will now call their attention that these audit reports needed to be acted on. But I would agree that the ministry has never taken a further step, like maybe police, taking the matter to the police. Just recent report, like for Basse, I thought that what we were talking about has been taken to the police, and then the action have since been taken by the police in trying to address those issues. But of course, that one, the ministry has not gone beyond the administrative instruction to maybe take the matter to the police. But then we also forward some of these recommendations which require disciplinary actions to the Service Commission, so that they can decide on those that requires disciplinary actions.
Do you have an inspection file at the level of the PS office?
At the level of the Directorate of Governance,
yes.
On behalf of the Permanent Secretary, they have files when they go inspection where they do their normal reports.
And lastly, on my side, I want to ask basically, what will you say as PS? What will you say are currently the areas that your ministry or your institution can improve on in relation to your functions? Especially your functions as a supervisory institution over these area councils, especially in the area of making sure that they get their grants, their 25% financial commitment, or as well trying to make sure that there is proper administration and management of these area councils. What will you say that you can improve on at this level?
Yeah, the first thing to improvement is enforcement. The ministry need to improve on its enforcement of some of these recommendations you talked about beyond the administrative level. I will agree to that. And also the 25% you talked about, the ministry, where we can stop is we always cater for this requirement in the budget at our level, at the ministry level. But budget goes on budget bilateral, and it also goes on different layers before it is approved. So we don't just have the decision to just say, okay, the 25% is 1 billion, and that 1 billion we put it in the budget and we just give. No, when we put the 1 billion in the budget, it goes to Ministry of Finance, and then the Ministry of Finance can reduce this 1 billion. And when this 1 billion is reduced, it can go to National Assembly. They can also have an impact there. So it's not only, but we have to understand one thing. Budget is an estimate. 25% of the development budget on actuals is what is realistic. Because if we don't put it on actual, what is going to happen is, if I want to get more money from government, I will prepare my budget at 10 million, so that I'll get 25% of 10 million. But then the budget actual is where we look at. Last year, you said you are going to spend 20 million. How much did you spend on development last year? That's your actual, that's your development, actual development. So 25% of your actual development can be asked from government, but not the projected amount, where those projects you will not even execute them, because the money that you are requesting from government is not going to intervene on those projects, because those projects you already indicated in the budget that you are funding for them. Government 25% comes with special projects that you have to come up, and then government will, about 25% will address. So I think this is where sometimes misunderstanding comes in, where people just come with a wish list because of the budget. I think the final point that I've not touched on the issues, that is the 20, 40, 60% ratio of the requirement of the current under the development of the councils. This 60%, because councils are required to pay back, to use their 60% of their budget on development. Because they don't have enough revenue, they have a lot of recurrent expenditure, because the staffing is dense. Then what they will do is, you get your staffing amount, equate it to 40%, find your 60%, and then now develop your projects to equate to that 60%, so that you can fulfill the 40-60%. But in actual sense, if you go through those budgets, you will realize that 70 to 75% of the projects listed as development projects to meet the 60% are not implemented, but they are just there to meet the 60-40%. So what is the rationale to tell government to pay 25% of that wish list? It cannot be. So it only has to be what you have given back to the people, that development project, government can pay 25% of that. That is fine. That I agree, and I advocate for that to happen, because this is a requirement, and it's something that has to happen. It's a government obligation. Government has to do it. At our level, we always try to put it in the budget. We discuss with councils and tell them what is happening, then we put it in the budget. But consistently, for the past 2-3 years, we have been seeing that government is at least started putting some money into councils as subvention. So it's just the amount now. Before, it was not even, the budget line was not even created at the level of the ministry. But now we have the budget line to intervene to support them. So now the amount is what we are working on. And then we have the support of the local government select committee at the National Assembly. They are doing a fantastic job in trying to help us when the budget goes to their level, to make sure they are also very sensitive to this 25% issue. So they also want to make sure they help us that any savings within our ministry, it goes to address some of those problems. So the ministry will continue to work on that, to see that those kind of things are met.
Thank you, PS. Thank you, Council. At this point, I would like to ask Lead Counsel if she has any more questions. If not, I have an announcement to make. But before I make the announcement, can you let us know whether you still have some questions for the witness?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, we have further questions for the witness, but subject to what the commissioners have to say, I don't know. Do you have any questions for the witness, or before you?
Well, at this point, we do have questions, because I have done consultation with the commissioners, but apparently we have some housekeeping to do. We have some issue that has came up. We have some issues to sort out. So the issue is now, I would just make a statement, PS, that we have seen your statement, and you have highlighted some provisions of the Act, and we will want to find out more from you with respect to some of these provisions that you've mentioned in your statement, vis-a-vis with the workings of the councils, and also the relative challenges that you have highlighted to the Commission, how this have impacted on their performances, among others. But for the time being, we would like to take this opportunity to adjourn the proceedings till Monday, because we don't sit on Fridays, till Monday, so that we can continue on some of these areas that we want you to expand on and explain to the Commission, for them to have a proper understanding of your relationship with the councils, the challenges vis-a-vis particularly with the legislations, and why you had this enormous difficulty in making sure that councils follow what is provided for in the legislations, and also to take heed to your directives and sometimes to your counseling as to their modus operandi and to the performance of their duties in some aspect. Because also we want you to really guide or inform the Commission of the areas of budgeting, so that the Commission is clear as to whose role is what when it comes to issues of budget. Because as we note, Council has really asked extensive questions on the issue of the Commission, which perhaps the commissioners also may want to find out one or two things, but we have a lot of issues that we want you to highlight. So on this note, we would adjourn the proceedings till Monday. We proceed at 10, that is the time schedule for you to appear, so that we can continue with the evidence you are giving. So the meeting for today, the proceedings for today stand adjourned till Monday. Thank you so much.